Hi everybody, it's Mena. Welcome back to my channel, or if this is the very first video that you're seeing of me, then welcome to my channel. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. If you didn't already, I post every day of the week vlog. And today in this video, I'm going to talk about my top 5 crochet pet peeves. Now, I already did a top 10 knitting pet peeves, which I'll link down below if you didn't see. This is a video about my pet peeves I have when it comes to crocheting. I don't crochet as much as I knit, but I do have a few pet peeves when it comes to crocheting. I still do love to, this also doesn't mean I don't like to crochet. I still like to crochet. I just prefer knitting better because it's just easier for me to keep track of my stitches, and it's easier for me to see my rows. But if you guys think crocheting is easier than knitting, that's totally okay. We're all different and we all find things easier than others do. Everybody's just different when it comes to hobbies. So I'm going to get started. And if you guys crochet, what are your pet peeves when it comes to crocheting? Let me know down in the comments below. And I already did a knitting pet peeves, which I'll link down below if you didn't see. So I'm going to get started. So number 1 on my list would have to be running out of yarn. Sorry, running out of yarn is one thing that really drove me crazy, because I would run out of yarn so quickly when it come to crocheting, because I think it was because I had a really big tension and I do really long chains, and I'd be like almost to the end of my ball of yarn when I needed more, and then sometimes I'd have to buy more, and it was really, really annoying whenever I ran out of yarn in crocheting. It just drove me crazy because then I would have to go and buy more, and yarn does get pretty expensive depending on where you get it and stuff. Like Michael's is pricey, Joann's is pricey, and just anywhere is pretty much pricey wherever you get yarn. So that was one thing that would happen to me quite a lot in crocheting, was I would always run out of yarn because I would be crocheting so tight. Number 2 on my list would have to be my hook getting stuck in a stitch. Now this would happen to me quite a lot in crocheting, is my hook would get stuck in the top V and I had to wiggle it to get it out. And it was probably because I accidentally crocheted my stitches too tight without realizing it. And sometimes I couldn't get my hook in. I would have to wiggle it out, and it would really drive me crazy because I couldn't be able to finish my row. It would take me forever to finish my row because my hook would get stuck, and I think it was because my stitches were too tight, which really bothered me. Number 3 on my list had to be not being able to get my hook into the stitch. So this is another thing that bothered me, is it was so hard to get my hook in the stitch just because it was really tight and stuff, and I had no idea how to control my tension at the time. And I literally, my V's would be the little V's at the top of the row for crocheting. I'm sure all you guys, if you're crocheters, you know what I'm talking about. The little V's at the top, they literally would be so tight that it would get my hook stuck in it, and then I literally would have to wiggle my hook out to get it out of the stitch. And I just didn't realize I was crocheting so tight because I didn't know how to control my tension, and it would really bother me. And a lot of people say it's always best to keep a loose tension when you're crocheting and never to have a tight tension, because it makes it 10 times harder to crochet. Number 4 on my list had to be my rows being crooked. So when I first started crocheting, my rows would be like a trapezoid instead of straight like they were supposed to. And it was because I didn't chain 1 at the beginning of the row. I didn't know you were supposed to do that when I first started crocheting. And I was watching a bunch of crocheting videos over the years. I was like, why were my rows so crooked? And then I realized as I was watching the videos, I've noticed people were chaining up 1 to get the hook up in position. And I was like, oh, oh, no wonder my rows were crooked, because I had no idea you were supposed to chain 1. And my mom and my aunt taught me, and I think they accidentally forgot to tell me that when I was crocheting, that I had to chain 1 at the beginning of the row. I didn't know I was supposed to do that. So that's what happens. We all make mistakes. So my rows would just end up being really crooked, and I thought it was because I had a really tight tension, but it actually was because I was forgetting to chain one or two, depending on what stitch I was doing at the beginning of the row. Number 5 on my list had to be not being able to see my stitches. So sometimes my stitches would be so tight and small that I couldn't see where to put my hook, and it made it so incredibly hard. And sometimes I'd be working with a black yarn or a gray yarn or whatever color yarn that was really dark, and I couldn't see my stitches, which made it hard, and it just made it harder for me to work my stitches, and I couldn't see where to put my hook, and it made it really, really difficult for me to see my stitches. And then even if I used a bright color, they would be so small I couldn't even get them through, and I think it was because I accidentally made them too tight that I couldn't see them. So if I couldn't see my stitches, I didn't know where to put my hook, and it made it so incredibly hard for me to crochet. And I really, really did not like the fact that my stitches were too tight. So yeah, note to self, if you're a beginner crocheter, please watch your tension, because if your stitches are too tight, not only can you not get your hook through, but it's very hard for you to see your stitches. Okay, so those are my top 5 crochet pet peeves. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I post every day of the week fun. I'll see you in another video soon. Bye.